everybody. Welcome to the Q&A with voice acting voice actors. We should introduce ourselves for anyone who has no idea who we are.
Oh, good idea.
Voice actor.
This is going to start from the outside.
Generic.
Oh, okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Kristen McGuire.
Hi, Chris.
It has been
Where's my chair? This is embarrassing.
Nailed it.
What's in that cup?
Exactly.
Good stuff.
The beautiful Kristen was just introducing herself.
until somebody rudely walked in late.
Hey, you guys started
I
clapping.
don't want to name names, but it starts with a C and ends with a Christian Potenza.
So, let's just do this panel and move on with our lives.
Okay, so anyway, hi, my name is Kristen McGuire. I am an artist, I am a voice actress, I'm a scriptwriter, and apparently don't enjoy free time. You may know me by roles such as Hinano in Assassination Classroom, Chio in Prison School, Hanabi, is that her name? Yeah. Hanabi, that's her name. These Japanese names slay me. Hanabi Kawaii in Keijo, Lupin Yuri on Ice, as well as many others. I have a whole list downstairs complete with pictures for your viewing pleasure. And I've also been in a couple of games like 88 Heroes. I played Bulbasaurus. And then I did background voices for Freedom Planet 2. So those are some of the things that you can hear me in. And if you call Secure Tech, you can hear my lovely phone recording voice.
That's all called now.
I'm Ivan Cherry. I am a voice actor as well, and I do on-camera stuff too. I'm the voice of Inspector Gadget, and I've done a ton of other cartoons, video games, including Assassin's Creed Syndicate and Unity and Watch Dogs 2, and
Stop being Canadian and rushing through your credits. Don't be a Canadian shy boat.
shows like Orphan Black and Warehouse 13 and Rogue and a bunch of other stuff, and
Which is awesome.
and some other stuff too.
Which is awesome.
We did an episode of Murdoch Mysteries together.
Oh, that's true. We did an episode. I think it's called the Artful Detective in the States.
Whoa.
What?
Is it not? Is it the Murdoch Mysteries? No.
Do we typically rename shows from Canada?
It's very different.
I think I don't
Understand the original title in English. We didn't get it.
Well, yeah, I think, what was it, Almost Naked Animals was like retitled Inappropriate Animals, Trigger Warning, something like that. I'm just
I was like, I'm on that show. I was like, what?
Yeah, they actually changed the entire voice cast. It was really weird. Actually, no, it was everybody. It was actually you were the only one recast. Sorry to say it. Yeah,
Actually, you want to know something really funny? You know that Pickle and Peanut?
Yeah.
You know Mr. Miart?
Uh-huh.
He sounds like my character, Dirk Danger.
Uh-huh.
The guy who created Almost Naked Animals created Pickle and Peanut, and that voice that I did for Dirk Danger is like a complete ripoff. Oh. I know, right?
What a jerk.
No.
That never happens. Actors impersonating other actors, it never happens. And, my name's Ben Diskin. I wisely decided to pull up a list of the things I've done so I can actually...
Finally.
I'm Young Master Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. I'm Lance in Pokemon Generations. I've been in Ultimate Spider-Man and a bunch of other stuff. And Barbie Dreamtopia? Oh my god.
You were.
Wow.
Oh, I was up with you.
Oh, that's right, you're an Alpha Omega Dino Diggs. Were you Barbie? God, I'm so... Yes, I am. Also, Erased, which is a new show. It's come out pretty recently. It's, you guys, it's really cool.
Mystery anime.
Yes, mystery anime. And a whole bunch of other stuff.
No, you
What did I skip?
You skipped
Norm of the North.
Ladybug.
Oh, that's right, I'm in Miraculous Ladybug. I play some ancillary characters in that. And Norm of the North, the greatest movie of all time. Please don't watch it. I play a Japanese guy. And then I felt so racist. By
That happened.
And like Becky Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Never close. Really, pretty, yeah.
This is the fastest way to know what shows we're on to get the
Yeah.
fun that one.
We're on Popple's Gosh. This thing reminds me of like all of the shows that I've done where I'm like, oh, I hope nobody knows I did that one. Oh man, that's right, I'm in One Punch Man too. I this is all a bunch of stuff I really should have.
I'm gonna read his credits because I'm way more excited about his credits.
No, why? No.
Okay, Fire Emblem Fates.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, you're shopping! You're shopping!
No, shop. Don't buy stuff on Amazon.
I know, right? Xenoblade Chronicles, yes.
Yes.
Hot Wheels, yes. Digimon Fusion, yeah. Alpha Mega, a lot of those. Sailor Moon Crystal, Star Wars Rebels, Tenkai Knights, the last Naruto movie, the Marvel Experience, Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric. Oh, I'm sorry, I was in that too.
That's the one thing.
That was the most shameful credit I might
I have like
ever
this
had.
ongoing gag, which is like, excuse me, I am the voice of Quincy from Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric for Wii U. I think I deserve better treatment at this facility. Like, nobody cares. That's gonna be my Oscar. If I ever like win a big award, I'm gonna be like, I thought that being the voice of Quincy from Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric couldn't be topped, and it still hasn't. Goodbye, thank you.
Kingdom Hearts, Root Factory 4, Star Wars, Tenkai Knights. Oh my God, Naruto Shippuden, Spider-Man Unlimited. Final Fantasy 13, Skylanders. Yeah, you were Skylanders. Awesome, love Skylanders.
Okay, so there's 5 minutes left, everybody.
You should talk about yourself, Aaron.
Half of these are my credits.
I want to know who it is in Ring Factory 4.
Oh, I play Keel. He's, as so many friendly faces have said on the internet, he's the Shota. And I'm like, please don't say that. That means, like, cute little boy you kind of want to have relations with. And please don't say it that way. He's just a little kid.
No,
But you can hear him in the game, it's weird.
Stitch.
Oh,
Very
oh,
cool.
For a second, you then just gonna stitch.
Oh.
That's so awesome.
Sometimes.
Number one, you're number one, aren't you?
Yes.
He is,
Yeah,
and number
yeah,
two.
Codename Kids Next Door. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yeah, you are. This is amazing, Ratchet and Clank. I'm really in love. Okay, so half those credits, some of them are mine.
Okay.
We're
Talk.
done.
Tell us about
And then
Aaron.
Monster High, Ever After High, Ed and Eddie. Persona 4, League of Legends, World of Warcraft, Tales of the Abyss, Skyrim stuff. Great. Awesome. Your turn.
That was.
Thank you.
Wow.
I was going for delivery. Danganronpa.
Nice. Christian Potenza, and I've been on, let's see, Sidekick, Total Drama, all 6 seasons. And, 16, of course. Garage Band, Jimmy Two Shoes. But I'm actually more like in up north in Canada. I'm mostly on
Are you
camera.
Canadian?
I am Canadian, eh?
Totally wicked.
Whatever, your president's a dick. The new one, the guy coming in. I like it where I'm at right now. But I sort of just my resume is all over the place, and it's really mixed with on camera and do a lot of radio. So I am in my country considered a success story because my resume is just all over the place. And
You're a
full.
working actor.
I'm a working actor.
Woo!
But like everybody else in certain seasons of their career, like the last 2 years for me have been very different because it's I've been working steady for like 10 years. Actually, this March will be 20 years altogether.
Wow.
Like 20 years as a professional actor, but the last 2 years, it just died for me because I'm like, I am older now. I've been sort of trapped in, because I play a lot of kids like and stuff like that, I've been pigeonholed and stuck there, but now they're putting out breakdowns saying a Christian Potenza type and not hiring me. They're hiring some 18 or 20-year-old to play me. So, but things change, right? We have seasons in our careers. Doesn't mean you suck or it's over. just slows down and gets a little bit different. I had to go back and redo my demo tape for radio because most of it was like, dude, I don't have to go to school today. But the thing is, yeah, it's funny to you. This is my life. But the thing
Christian,
is,
why does everybody laugh at you?
not helping, front row. That's a great laugh.
Happened yesterday too. He was like, I got fired, and this guy was like, ha!
That guy right there, yeah. Hey, I'm watching you.
You better watch out, that guy.
Watch out,
No, but this is funny. You know what? You have to laugh at it too. You can't take it too seriously either. But anyways, my resume, and we'll get to your questions, is all over the map. Google it. Yeah.
Google.
You got smartphones. Use them.
I don't.
Now, we you.
Let's open it up.
Let's do
That
it.
guy has a question.
Oh God.
What's up, that guy?
Who's your favorite person to work
Not you.
with? You don't work with me till tomorrow. Wait for it.
Favorite person to work
I hear
with.
the question.
Favorite person to work
Who's your
with.
favorite person to work with? Like as another voice
Director or actor?
actor. Another voice actor.
That's probably Sunny Straight. Because I actually met Sunny as an artist, and he's also an artist, and we hit it off over our mutual artisticness, and then eventually I started voice acting at Funimation. He was still acting at the time, but he started kind of reaching out to me, like wanting to work on art projects together, things like that. I was taking some private coaching at the time. He's like, I want to talk to you about your private acting coaching and like what they cover, so we talked about that. He's like, I'm going to do a workshop. And I was like, cool. I would love to go to that. And he's like, well, I don't know what you can learn. And me being me, I'm like, there's always something to learn. You've been doing this 17 years. Like, surely I can learn something from you. So I took his workshop, and in the middle of the workshop, Funimation was like, hey, Sunny, do you want to direct again? And he was like, yes. And because I was in his workshop, and he knew what I could do, he cast me in his first show that he did when he got back, which was Maria the Virgin Witch, and I played Vera, who is a witch. Typecasting. But now I work with him all the time, and it's great because we have such like a comfortable relationship because we've known each other for so long. We also work on ElfQuest together. But we go in there and I'll do something and I'm like, and like I know it sucked, and I'm just looking through the window, like waiting to see his reaction, and I'm like, so, McGuire, you want to do that again and not suck this time? And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it again. But it's great because it's so comfortable. Like, it's not like, my feelings, my fragile artistic feelings. You know, it's just like, yeah, you're right, that blowed. Let's do it again.
That blowed.
That blowed.
For me, I love working with a guy who is now in New York, and his name's Dwayne Hill. And you can Google it. And Dwayne has such incredible talent and breadth as a voice actor. Actually, you might know him from Mean Girls. He was like the gym teacher in Mean Girls.
Yeah.
And when I first worked, Dwayne's a big guy. He's got long hair and a beard. He kind of looks like a biker, a cross between a biker and a hobo. But he has this incredible talent, but he also has ADHD. That's right, is that ADHD?
Oh, like poster child, ADHD.
No, it's unbelievable. So I'm in the booth with him together. We're doing this series called Dex Hamilton, Alien Entomologist.
What a great title.
Yeah. And he's playing this 15-year-old Australian entomologist in the year 3000. And I'd never met him before. And he was sort of sitting there fiddling with his new camera. And I went to the booth and he sort of looked up and grunted a little bit, and I didn't know him at all, and then we started working. Dwayne wouldn't be, it's like he had a script on his music stand, and he wasn't even really paying attention, it seemed. He was so focused on his camera, but then when it came time to work, he just went bing, turned it on, was brilliant, and then snapped out of it again and went right back to his camera. And he can voice a series, and I think he has done, almost voiced a series, all the characters in an episode of a series on his own. And they're completely different. So I would encourage you to check out his IMDb list, but also Google him or check him out on YouTube because his talent is unbelievable. And you may not have heard of him, but you've certainly heard him, because for years in Canada, Dwayne did just about everything.
He's on everything. He's like Scott McCord.
He's like Scott McCord.
Every cartoon that you've ever seen come out of Canada, these guys are on. There's
Yeah.
3 guys that I know. Jamie Watson,
Yeah.
because he did like 5 different voices on 16. He was Coach Halder and Ron Rent-A-Cop and stuff. And then there's so Jamie Watson,
Scott McCord.
Scott McCord, Dwayne Hill.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Good answer.
Yeah, that was a really good answer.
Was it?
Mine's gonna stink
I
compared.
thought it was boring.
I wish I could say like some big name actor, but I have a bunch of voice actor friends who I get coffee with all the time. We hang out all the time, so it's really fun to work with them because
You have to pick one, Ben.
okay, fine. I won't make any of them. All right. Much like Dwayne, I like Cree Summer. A lot of people have grown up hearing Cree in like tons of different cartoons from like.
She's Canadian.
She's Canadian too. Yeah. So like everybody here's her. And Cree is basically this is Cree magazine. Here's the line. All right. Just right back into it. And it's not like she just like does it haphazardly. It's always perfect, and then she just goes right back to reading. So it's like that dual mind of like I'm busy doing this one thing. Oh right, the job here it is. But I've done this for so many years that it just comes out naturally, and she's on it, and then she just gets right back out of it. And I find that very impressive.
And inspiring too.
Except for when you hear this in the middle of your take, and you're like, great, put the paper down. The mic's live. Put it down. But that's about it.
That was good. Shout out to Mercy, Overwatch lady over there. Thank you.
Heroes never die.
You are my people. It's hard to pick a favorite, but I'm going to. My favorite, only because without even trying, we seem to get cast off of each other. Like 40 credits that I have, or I was cast opposite this person without even knowing half the time, and it's Yuri Lowenthal. Yuri is my brother from another mother. We do not have to use conversation to work together. It's almost like we have a silent creative thing. The first session I ever booked. I've been hanging around Canadians too long this weekend because my Canadian accent's pretty strong. Okay, so
Drink it up, babe.
I'm getting in a lot of trouble. So it was a cartoon called Alpha. Oh no, I keep thinking it's Alpha Teens on Machines, and I found out that it was a different cartoon that I don't even know the name of. We were booked on some cartoons. Sublu was directing. Yuri was next to me. We didn't know each other. It was years ago. I had pink hair then as well. And there was a paper clip. We couldn't talk in the session, obviously. There's all these humans in the session. And we had to be silent. And I had like this little tiny character in the show, and he was doing another little fill-in character. And we would pass this paper clip between us, and we were making a little, I don't know what we were, just like sculpture with the paperclip. And by the end of the session, we knew we were kindred spirits at that time. I was like, I feel like you're related to me. So, and from that point on, our voices just kept getting booked opposite each other. So, he is Yosuke to my Chie. He is Haseo to my Alcade in the Dot Hacks series. Like almost every game I'm in, he's opposite somewhere, which is kind of phenomenal. So I really enjoyed that. We worked on a cartoon called Wild Grinders together on Nicktoons, which was Rob Dyrdek, the famous skateboarders cartoon. And Yuri and I used to get to improv during those sessions. Like we would improv crazy characters together, because the writers would do like, oh, here's some filler characters, and then we would take it and run. And because the writers sat in the session, by the next week they would write those characters into full episodes. And I'd be like, this is the best job. Like Kel Mitchell is on this side of me, Yuri Lowenthal is on this side of me. This is the best job ever. So yeah, I like him.
Very nice.
You don't have to say me just because I'm here.
We all
He was
know.
gonna say me.
Way to jump over my thing, guys. First of all, I just want to say that those are the best shoes I've ever seen, right there. Yeah. No, easy, Doc Martin, the one next to you. The gray ones, those are great. My favorite person to work with is Terry McGurran, who played Jonesy on 16 and is now the voice of Dawn for Ridiculous Race, and he's the voice of Scaredy Squirrel and a whole bunch of other things. He's blown up, because back when we were doing 16, he started writing, because he's a stand-up comedian, and he is one of the most funniest guys I have ever got to work with. And I know him from Ottawa.
Ottawa! I'm from Ottawa too.
Are you really? That's where I was born.
One of the few cities I lived in, but I lived there for like 5 years.
You're like the Highlander. Everywhere. I love it. The reason I like working with him is because I've known him for a while, and he was one of my idols. He used to do this character called Shep, and I used to imitate him. And then when I started working with him on 16, and it's funny because we've had the same agent, and I didn't know we were the same agent. We found out that we had the same agent when we were doing 16, and then he left that agency. I went to another agency, and I started producing cartoons, and I would just call him because he started writing on 16 scripts. And then next thing you know, him and I, and now Lori Elliott, and we started like bouncing around, and next thing you know, we're having meetings in Teletoon and Cartoon Network, and attaching ourselves to our own projects, and just blowing up. And so that sort of translated in having a real shorthand, because I know when I step in the booth with him, he's got my back, and he also pushes me to go really good. You know, not just show up and do the lines. It's like, no, it's a thing. Because he will out-voice you and outwit you, because we both want to be the funniest. We both want to be, you know, the number, we get the gold star for the play. And that's why I like working with him. He's a real treat, that guy. So, yeah, it's like a ping and a pong, like that. And I know that he's going to be there.
That's it.
Yeah.
My meds and stuff that I take on a normal basis for like work, but my acting coach said he doesn't want me to take them during performances. Like, what is your like take on that? Of, you know, trying to be able to focus, but a lot of times he feels like when I take it, I'm more like zoned out, so I'm not as characterized. You know what I'm saying? So you work with somebody that is.
I don't know. That's a tough question. Did anybody hear that? Yeah. I think that's kind of a hard question at least for me to answer. I think one needs to do whatever they feel is best for them to stay, to do what they need to do to get the work done.
Yeah.
You know, you're also, you know, if you're in a play, for instance, well, no matter what you do, you also have obligations to everybody else with whom you're working. You know, both as actors and the director and whoever else it may be. So you know, I think it's important to do whatever you need to do to provide the best performance that you can give.
I just feel like sometimes in a small space, like if you're recording and stuff like that, it could kind of be annoying when you have somebody that's just like, I can't be still. I need to.
As long as you're not wearing jewelry. You know, yeah, if you sit there in silence going, I don't hate it personally. Anyway.
Well, I just want because I knew you had mentioned it, so I was like, oh, well, you work with somebody. What is your take on?
I just, you know, in that case for me, it was, Dwayne was like, wow, I'm working with Dwayne Hill, this is awesome. I'm just gonna be quiet over here in the corner and do my job when my turn comes around.
I don't know if you've ever worked with Kirk Thornton, but he's so amazing in the booth because his face stays on mic, but his whole body is doing all sorts of dancey stuff, and that could be distracting, but it's awesome because you're like, Kirk Thornton, look what he's amazing.
Yeah.
You don't care.
You just need to focus on what you're doing, and you know, what other people do, like lots of people can be annoying.
That guy.
For various reasons. And, you know, you still need to do your job.
Once again, he wasn't listening. ADHD.
Oh,
Somebody call him on his old phone so maybe he can hear the panel. Wait, I don't want to use up all his minutes.
Oh my God.
Somebody call the ambulance because you just got burned.
My battery lasts longer than yours.
Reverse burn.
And yet I feel nothing.
I saw a green hand pop up with a question.
Yeah, green hand.
Green hand question.
What has been y'all's most thrilling role?
Oh my God, these are hard.
These are really hard. Like the most of this is your favorite that is tough.
Define thrilling.
Yeah.
Most exciting and most memorable.
Okay, very good.
Just laugh.
Start at the other end.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go first.
That's why you never sit on one end or the other in a voice panel.
Curses, well again. I think for me, the most, I mean, there's a lot of great roles that I have, and I'm thankful for all of them, because as an actor, any work is great work. But probably the most memorable for me so far has been Hinano in Assassination Classroom. Not just because, one, it's such a well-known series, but I had been doing Walla for Funimation at this point for about 1.5 years, and I had been working my tail off, like taking classes and trying to become a better actor. And it's like, I just wanted like my chance, to be like, guys, I could do a character with a name if you'd let me. And we get booked for bits a lot, and so it'll be like 30-minute sessions. And so I got this message one day from Funimation that was like, can you come in tomorrow for 30 minutes? And it was like in the afternoon, like right when the girls got out of school, and it's like an hour to get ready and like a 45-minute drive to the studio. So I was gonna be doing like 2.5 hours of driving for 30 minutes, and I was like, not that I was ungrateful, but I was like, man, I really want my shot, like to do more than this. But I did it, and I rearranged my entire life to make this work, because it was really short notice. And I get to the studio, like thinking I'm just gonna go in there and do bits, and the director, Joel McDonald, comes out, who's kind of known for over-explaining scenes. Like, you could be doing a character, and he's like, okay, your character, she's been a fan forever, and he'll give you this 10-minute explanation, and he's like, you ready? And I'm like, ready, and then like, it's like, boop, 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 and you're like, yeah! I felt it. He gives you these big explanations for the smallest characters, because he really wants you to bring it to life. So I'm in the lobby, and he's like, you're here early, excellent, I really want to talk to you about what you're doing today. And I was like, cool. So he starts explaining Assassination Classroom to me, and I was like, man, this is lengthy, even for Joel. He's talking about like how it's the biggest selling thing in Japan, and how it was delayed because of these terrorist threats, and I'm like, I'm just doing bits, right? Like, this is a lot of information. And he goes, and he said the magic words, he's like, now your character, and I was like, and he goes, your character's blah, 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 and I was like, cool, excellent, I'm very excited to get started on it. So we go in, he shows me the character, and I do the 30 minutes of recording for episode 1, but it's a broadcast up, meaning we record 1 episode per week. So as I'm getting ready to walk out the door, he says everything every actor likes to hear, which is, all right, well, we're gonna need you on this for about 22 weeks, so don't go out of town. And I'm like, 22 weeks of consistent work? I was like, thank you, Joel. I was like, well, I'm really excited for this opportunity. Thank you so much. And I get in the car, and I'm like, I did it! It worked for 22 weeks! And it was a good day.
I think for me, it probably has to be the first day I went in to record Inspector Gadget, as I was obviously stepping into some very, very, very big shoes with Don Adams and Maurice
And sometimes
LaMarche.
they move around.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
games.
And there's a 30-year franchise history with the character, and everybody knows Inspector Gadget, with the exception of my mother, and she calls him Professor Gadget.
I love your mother. That is so cute.
Poor misguided Eric Fitzgerald. No, she's fine. And so to walk in there and know that this is ahead, and I said at the beginning, if I get 1 season, and my son, who was 3 months old at the time, at some point looks at the TV when Gadget's on and goes, Daddy! I thought that would be it. That would be the best thing ever. But it was really intimidating to step into those shoes. And when you inherit a very famous raincoat like that, there's a lot of actor fear as well too. It's like, oh my God, what if I suck? No, I'm not going to suck. I mean, I got the job, but what if this happens and that can consume you, and you just need to push that out. And now 2 seasons in, that thankfully has gone away. But the excitement and the thrill of sitting down for that first read through was quite incredible. It was very cool.
Right on. Mine has got to be Dr. Doolittle 4, Tale to the Chief. I played the Anteater. Okay, listen, I'm just kidding. Totally joking. No,
I was like, that's awesome.
What happened?
There's a great story.
I get an audition for that.
You're welcome. Mine would probably be Codename Kids Next Door. It was like the first really big show that I ever got to do, and I got to play 2 of the main characters completely by luck. What happened was this show was going to be
It was talent.
Yeah, let's not go that far. Let's be real. No, it's by luck because it's 5 characters, number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 2 of them are women, so they're not gonna have me play them. I auditioned for 2 characters. I auditioned for number 2 and number 4, who's number 4 went to Dee Baker doing an Australian accent, and I wouldn't have even gotten to audition for number 2 because originally the creator wanted to hire a friend and fellow actor of his named Sue Rose, who played, I don't know if you guys remember the show, it's called Angela Anaconda.
Yes.
Okay, she was Angela Anaconda, and that's who he wanted to play number 2, and he had her in mind when he made the character. So Colette Sunderman, the casting director, said, you know what, put this up for audition, maybe you'll hear somebody you like. And if he had not done that, I would have only auditioned for number 4, lost, and that would have been the end of that. But I wound up getting that role, and he said, well man, I'm gonna have to tell my friend Sue that she's out of a job, I'm gonna hire this kid. And so we made the show, we did the pilot episode, but we did it with a different person playing number 1. Originally it was going to be Tom Kenny, because Tom Warburton, the creator of Kids Next Door, had worked with him, and he loves Tom Kenny. Tom Kenny's amazing, he's really talented, SpongeBob SquarePants, come on. And what happened was, Tom's voice wasn't right, so they hired an actual British boy to come in and play the role of number 1. And he sounded fantastic. It really, everything came together. It sounded great. The kid went off to summer camp, came back, and his voice had changed.
Yeah.
And so he sounded totally wrong. Yep. What are you gonna do? So they went, oh man, I have to re-record all of these roles. Who do I hire? He had another open casting call for number 1. Couldn't find anybody. Then he said, well, what if I either Dee or Ben play it? So he had one of us audition for it. We both auditioned, and I wound up actually getting that role. Then that little short that we did had to win a competition called Cartoon Network's Big Pick against 9 other shows, and then it finally did that, and that's how it became a series, and then the series was a success, so we wound up making 6 seasons. So none of that would have happened to me if it weren't for Colette Sunderman going, why don't you let this kid try out for number 2? And it was like the biggest role of my life to this day, and it's like, I got to work with everybody that I grew up listening to. So all of like my favorite voice actors were all on that show. And I got to just sit there in like stunned silence watching everybody that I thought was amazing do what they do best. That's probably my biggest, my most thrilling voice actor experience.
That was awesome. I'm going to mirror that.
Oh,
because
did you do our show too?
Almost.
Really?
Oh no.
She's a good actress.
But okay, my experience is thrilling, but not for the reasons that will seem that you will think it was thrilling for. So my very first job was Ed, Edd and Eddy, which was on Cartoon Network, when Cartoon Network was first invented. So no one has heard of Cartoon Network. It only played in America, and I was working in Canada, so it didn't mean anything to me in Canada. The show itself, even though it was made in Canada, animated in Canada, all the talent was Canada, never got picked up by Teletoons. I think they picked it up for 1 season, 4 years in, and then dropped it. So none of us knew. But it was my very first audition. It was my very first cartoon audition, and it was a 6-month audition process. They called us back for 6 months because Danny was a perfectionist and he fired like 4 casting directors and I kept going back and back and back, and I was always reading for May Kanker. And at first I had May Kanker with a lisp because of the buck teeth, but it was one of the casting directors that suggested that I change the lisp to a snort. And I think that's what booked it, was because he gave me that suggestion. And then, so the thrilling part was booking my very first animated series, being my very first animated audition. Like, that felt insane and unheard of, but it had also felt like everything that had happened to me up until that moment was preparation for that moment. Like that's the moment my entire life made sense all of a sudden. All of the cartoon watching I did as a child, which was a copious amount, enough that my parents would literally force me out of the house and say, get out. All of the characters that I would flip in and out of and annoy my friends with forever. Like, I couldn't hold a normal conversation in my normal speaking voice for years until I started booking cartoons. And once I started doing cartoons, people were like, oh my God, that's that's what you sound like? Oh, I can have normal conversations now. I have a venue for it. So I didn't even know, just 10 years on that show, we didn't know it was popular. We were shocked every year they kept coming back and saying, you've got more episodes. We're like, really? We haven't even heard of it. Who's watching this? We don't know. But it was my mom and dad moving to Norfolk, Virginia, and my mom calling me up and go, hey, do you know that show at Nettie you're doing? It's really popular in America. Like, seriously? Yeah, it really is. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. So that's mine.
Nice. Mine is mine is you ever heard of a film called The Nut Job?
Yes.
Okay, well, I got cast in that. And it was, at the time, I was hosting this show on Discovery Network called Last Car Standing, where people competed with their crappy old beater cars in a series of competition. And if they lost, they got eliminated, and their car was then picked up by a giant crane and spiked. Check it out, it's called Last Car Standing, it's on Discovery in Canada. And so I'm the host of this show, and the reason I got that job was because of the way I was on Total Drama. They wanted this like crazy guy that just putting people through stuff, so it was a good gig. But during that, and we talked before about training your voice and keeping it in check and stuff like that. So on this Last Car Standing thing, I was yelling a lot, and there was cars, and it was just, wreckage and blah, 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 and I got a megaphone, and I'm yelling, so my voice is it's a little faster as normal. And then it usually is not up here, where it usually, sort of thing. So I auditioned for this thing called The Nut Job. And I get the part, and some of the best work I've ever done, and it's because, they were telling, oh, we got, here it is, Will Arnett, Katherine Heigl, Liam Neeson, Brendan Fraser, Maya Rudolph, Jeff Dunham, Stephen Lang, Sarah Gadden, who's from Toronto, Joe Penguay, who I played his brother, Annika Swain, she played Sierra on Total Drama, my buddy Scott Yaffe, James Rankin, and it was a great cast. It was a great cast, and I was playing the lead's brother, one of the gophers. And it was great because it sounded like this, and it was just just not like I usually get cast. And it was some of the best work I've ever done. And then cut to a year later, I think it's going to open on a Friday, and I'm like, I haven't heard anything about the show. I haven't heard anything. And I was so excited because I was promoting it. I got permission because I was doing conventions to promote the show. And I was like, oh my God, it's my first animated feature. I was so proud. I was like, this is awesome. And then it was getting close to the debut, and I was like, I haven't heard anything. I don't know. And so I go to IMDb, I check it out, and I was like, my name's still there. But then it's like Joe Penguay, we were playing brothers, and then Gabriel Iglesias. Who the hell's that? Like, who's he on the thing? I didn't see him before. I had been replaced. And they didn't tell me. But they gave me a bunch of artwork and stuff to promote it, because they knew I had a YouTube channel and stuff like that. And I was like, this is the best thing I've ever, and I was so proud for my daughter. I was like, you're gonna get to go see me on a movie. And that's the biggest thing for me, is like you said, is I want to be cool to my kid. So I get up, I was like so excited, and then because the distributor wanted it to sound a little more ethnic. So they made him sounding like an Italian guy. They made him Hispanic. And I was like, so that, talk about a super high and a low. So that was thrilling, to say the least. But it was, it taught me a big lesson that you can be replaced in this business, you know what I mean? But that will always stick with me, because that was some of the best work I've ever done, and you will never hear it.
Wow. I think it also proves like a valuable lesson that as actors we take things really personally, when a lot of times it has nothing to do with you.
Zero.
So I can't tell you every time I'm like, but I did such a good job on that audition. Like, I know I killed it, but But it's like they just had somebody different in mind, or they wanted a particular rasp in somebody's voice, or you can't take it personally because in the end it has. Or the
It was
director
never
doesn't
yours.
need to cast it, like the producer casted it.
And you can lose gigs because, there are so many levels of approval that things have to go through before you get greenlit and cast in something. And somebody could be up there somewhere high in the chain and go, oh, that guy sounds like my sister's ex-husband. He's out.
And you know who would be better? My buddy Rick.
Yeah, that too, and you have no idea what the reason is that you don't get or you lose a gig. And, you can't afford to lose sleep worrying about it.
I really get embarrassed because money, but I did get to once get paid to make fart noises, and I thought, man, I'm living the dream. In 88 Heroes, I played this little purple dinosaur called Bulbasaurus, and her superpower is that she farts. And so she goes, well, I'm a cutie-saurus, booty bout. And and I'm like, fart noises, living the dream.
Pass.
There's no passing.
Who's that guy?
Pass.
Come on, buddy.
I'm trying to think, and it's not that there aren't any, I think I've expunged them from my memory. There's more than one, and I'm just trying to, dig back into a place that I keep locked deep inside me and will never open again.
I'm not ashamed by anything. I'm the type of person who's like, oh, yeah, I'll say anything you want me to say. It's totally fine. I guess if I had to pick something that I'm uncomfortable with, you guys know Mafia 3 recently came out?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's intense.
Yes, it involves copious uses of the N-word, and I'm not really comfortable doing that, but for the roles, that's what it called for, so I would say I'm ashamed of having to say the N-word a lot. That's something I don't really feel comfortable doing, but that's about, but other than that, nah, not really, nothing I'm really ashamed of.
Okay, I don't have so much an answer to the story. Can I go now?
Yeah,
Okay.
do it.
So I just remember this. I got booked recently to do a couple of audiobooks.
Please tell me it's a romance.
And it's a story. It's a story of a guy, and they said in the breakdown that his partner is another guy. And his friend likes, he likes drinking, and he likes hard at bars and motorcycles and rough sex. It was the description of his partner. And I was like, okay, great, let's start. So I start reading the book, because I figured I probably should read the book before I actually read the book out loud. And I get to some points, and it's like, oh yeah, I guess, okay, this is the rough sex part, yeah, no big deal. But then I flip a few more pages, and I was sitting before I was doing waiting to go in to do a job for Chevy, and I had the book there, and I had this thought, I thought, hang on a minute, I can't really read passages about how he caressed his partner's thigh, and it was much more graphic than that, and about heaving buttocks and things, when I am a beloved children's cartoon character. And then I started reading it out loud in the Inspector Gadget voice, and as amusing as it was, I called my agent, and I said, hey Rachel, I just had this thought that I'm just going to send you a photo of this one page that's in this book, and you should probably think about whether or not we need to go forward with this project, because I have a feeling that DHX Media will not approve of Inspector Gadget reading soft pornography.
I saw it too in your kitchen. You're like, here, read this, and it was so funny. I wish you could break them off a little something because it's quite entertaining.
Fill up.
I don't think everybody's old enough.
It was awkward.
Not a long time ago, but a lot of stuff has come to my audition box that I've had to have a long talk with myself about whether I wanted to submit. So it's not, there's some really big name projects that I think almost anybody I know would love to work for, but because certain characters showed up and they were doing things that I felt were inappropriate as a female actor, and that I just don't want to put out there. You know, there's some things that are written that I think they're written in this. A lot of the stuff that would come, it would be under the you know, comedy, wacka comedy kind of like, this is funny. And I'm a very big comedy person. I do a lot of comedic cartoon characters. But if I would, and I would always try, I'm the type of person, I'd go behind the mic, I'd be like, let's give it a shot. And then I'd try it. And if it makes me feel like I don't want to put my name on it, like I would be ashamed to look a fan in the eye and say, I did it, I can't submit. I can't submit the audition. So there's something, I think it's a gift that I have for myself, something in this chakra area that tells me, if you do this, you will regret it, just for you, not for anybody else. It is certainly not, like, I don't judge the actor who does take the job. I know just for me, for my own self-worth and being, and because I do a lot of little kids' cartoons and I love how it feels, the upliftment of meeting the children who watch the programs, and I love how it feels to uplift people. I don't ever want to have to look a fellow woman in the eye and she goes, why would you play that character? Even though it was under comedy kind of things, some things just aren't funny as a female if you've lived through them. And they get made fun of all the time. So it's been a really interesting journey for me. I even just recently had to turn something down where I was like, yeah, I can't. It was a dub series that was coming from France that was already hugely popular, and I watched a few episodes and I tried to get comfortable with it, but it left me with that yucky feeling, and I found myself having a conversation with the director who really wanted me, and I said, I wouldn't be able to put my name on it. I wouldn't be able to put my name on it. I can't do it if I can't put my name on it. It doesn't feel right. So I can't say I've done anything in cartoons or animation that I'm ashamed of, but there is a project in live action that I have. And no one knows what it is. And it was my very first, I booked a lead character in a feature film. I was not credited on the film, thank God. And it was my first time doing a feature film. I'm very theatrical, like stage actory, like very broad. And yeah, that's it.
We almost had it, guys.
About it. Every once in a while somebody finds it and tweets me and I'm like, shh.
I had two, and I'll make them really fast here. The first one was on a cartoon, because this was early in my career when I was still just finding my voice, and I was going out for everything possible, and it was just, you're just happy to book it. And it was for a cartoon called Brace Face.
Oh, wow.
And there was a character on there, I don't even know, I never saw the show actually, and I don't even know if it made it into the thing, but there was a character called Screech? Or was that his name?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Ish.
Well, that was me, and I had a tough time with that because in the Bible, in the character description, it's like he's a white kid. This is something you guys would never see, but it said he's a white kid that thinks he's black, right? And so I'm like, I don't know. I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't do it. It was almost like the equivalent of voicing blackface. Do you know what I mean? Because it was like, where do you draw the line? Because somebody wrote this and they think it's funny, but that's the direction I got, was this white kid who thought he was black. So I'm coming off like a clown, and I was like, I'm not digging it. You know what I mean? So I wasn't too happy with that, but I trudged on through, and I was like, I wasn't one of those, hey guys, check me out on Brace Face, play Screech. You know, like, no, just let it go. Delete, yeah. And then the second one was, there's this, it was with Terry McGurn. We got cast to do this thing. There's a show in the UK, a very old show called Bill and Ben, the Flower Pot Man.
I love this story.
Yeah, good times. Thing where in Bill and Ben, the Flower Pot Man was an old puppet show, like marionettes thing back in the 50s in England, and it then moved on to claymation, and now it's like 3D, but we were still dealing with the claymation part. And it was just these two men that spoke gibberish. And they were like little animated characters, like, and so they hired Terry and I because we were running hot together, him and I, and everyone's like, oh, get those two, they'll do it. Because it was from the UK, and I forget the woman's name, the woman who played Daphne on Frasier.
Jane Leaves.
So she bought the rights to that show and brought it over to America, and she hired Fraser Crane. What's his name?
Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer and David Hyde Pierce to play these two men, to play the Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Men. But the creator, or the owners now, after listening to it, because she was narrating it, because there's a narrator and then there's these two men. So Kelsey and David just couldn't cut it. They were like, it's not funny. It's great that we have them doing this, but they couldn't do it because it is gibberish. So they hired Terry and I to come in, and we're voice actors, we're writing, we're producing, we're doing stuff, right? So we come in and do, and I had never done this sort of thing before, and this is what you guys, when you do anime, the swipes come, and you got, so we're trying to match, like, not even lip movement, it's just like, but and then the director's like, you guys you start sounding the same, can you split it up? And it's like, we're not hitting it right, but it's just, so trained voice actors, successful voice actors making googly sounds 2 days in a row, 6 hours, 12 fucking hours, and we get out of there, and I was like, I can't drive. So Terry and I just on this, we got up and our brain is oatmeal. We're just sitting there looking at each other going, this is the worst job ever. And we just looked at each other and like stayed really close to each other and just held each other going, I don't know if we'll ever work again. And we were like, and we replaced those guys? Yeah, I'm just not happy with that one, but we're trying to get our hands on that because we did an entire season. That was nuts.
Good times.